Hi, I'm your host, Mark Aaron, and welcome to In Focus by U Multicultural, where we focus on civic issues here in Winnipeg. And in today's episode, we'll be talking to Prairie Sky Immigration on how they help with immigrants moving to Winnipeg and the struggles they face while moving here. With me right now is Rosanna Pancotto. Rosanna, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. So, what would you say is the biggest struggle all immigrants face moving into a new country?
The biggest struggle that I find that most of my clients face, or others that I meet that had just recently moved to Canada, is just feeling accepted. In general, with regards to integrating and cultural barriers that they might not be used to. So most folks tend to gravitate to their own community because they're too shy or too concerned to be able to intermingle with others from other communities, right? They don't feel totally at home due to, could be language and just cultural, where they come from, and feeling that they belong. So typically it takes about at least minimum 2 years to get settled. So when you're trying to settle your affairs in the first 2 years, whether it be a family class or refugee or even a worker, 2 years has gone by where you're in a country and you haven't really made any friends because you've just been so preoccupied with get your footing on the ground, and so feeling accepted, I think, takes is one of the biggest struggle overall.
And how,
Connected.
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And how is Prairie Sky Immigration Center helping immigrants move here, and what services do you provide?
I provide a multi-level type of business for immigrants. I help with international students, family class, and skilled workers, specifically destined to the province of Manitoba. I am also very involved with the removal process. So if you've had issues in the past where you didn't comply with immigration regulation, whether you're a temporary foreign national or a permanent resident, and now you're facing a deportation, I help many folks navigate through those steps of removal if they were faced with that. Yeah. So we like to help those that don't really understand the law. I'm an immigration consultant, and sometimes accessing a lawyer is extremely expensive. So most folks can't afford to see a lawyer to help them navigate through the legislation. And so I offer an alternative to that, especially when it comes to removals or areas of immigration where it's not as straightforward.
And can you give us a brief description on why you want to open Prairie Sky Immigration when there was, like, say, the other immigration centers opening up right now?
Yeah, I've been in the business with immigration for 20 years. My business opened in 2007. I also teach with Ashton College, so I teach the profession. So I probably the other ones that are opened up are my former students. I used to work for a member of parliament and I used to work for the Minister of Immigration. So my background is a little bit unique and diverse. I've started off in politics. I went to work with the Liberal Party for several years, was an immigration assistant for a member of parliament, like I said, a special assistant for the Minister of Immigration, and then I teach the profession as well. So I offer a little bit different my services just for the diverse knowledge that I have, both working in a private setting and a public setting, both with government and on my own, and with the school.
And what I know Winnipeg has like a high count of like different immigrations coming from different countries. So why is it the first choice they say is Winnipeg?
Winnipeg is kind of cool in many ways for new immigrants because it offers that urban setting, but not as big and as scary as somewhere like Toronto and or Vancouver, right? Typically, those that come to Manitoba or Winnipeg is that they're looking for a balanced lifestyle with regards to being able to live in a city and still be in touch with their community. When you go to a larger urban center like Toronto, it's so large, and even the communities have become so segregated and big that it's hard for a new immigrant to settle into their own communities right away in an urban
Mhm.
center, right? So they struggle more. And so they pick Winnipeg because they can connect to their own community and other communities easier. So if it takes 2 years, at least in Manitoba, to integrate, it takes many more years in a city like Toronto and Vancouver, other than if you're an international student. If you're an international student, obviously you'll have more exposure to friends just because of the school setting versus somebody who's out of the school position and they're more in the workforce. So, but if you notice the international students, they tend to gravitate and hang out with each other. They
Mhm.
themselves don't have many Canadian friends. They tend to stick with other international students because they're relating to what they're going through and they're all going through similar things and feelings and with regards to studying and acceptance and going out and meeting girls and boys and different people. So I tend to see that a lot, that international students tend to stick together. So in any city, if you see international students, they're not struggling as much as foreign nationals, foreign workers, or permanent residents coming straight from their home country and not having a school setting. And that's where Winnipeg, I think, is more of a leading edge on the provinces.
And do you have any final advice on someone wanting to move into a new country and starting a new life here?
Yeah, I think the best first few steps that someone should take is research, 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 right? Know the province you're going to. Understand that Canada is unique, that one part of Canada operates differently than another part of Canada. And when you understand or do some research before you move, you'll have a better understanding if that province is a better fit for you. That's one. So research where you're going, and not just research Canada. Actually go further into the province and understand the differences. Second would be to make sure you are looking at your credentials, your job demand lists that are listed with the government of Manitoba specifically, or even in Canada. Does your skills match what Canada needs? Do the research on the market jobs, because if you're doing a certain skill or a certain job that's not going to go well in Canada, and when I say go well, I really mean that they're going to have a hard time finding employment in that sector, and then they revert to doing the cab driving and right like
Mhm.
that. They're doing more meager jobs, and there's nothing wrong with those jobs. It's just not matching your career. So if you're looking to come for more of a career move, you should be researching the job market and making sure that when you do come, that you're going to be able to integrate with your career. And also understanding the language, studying the language a little bit more, whether it be French or English. It does advance you. Of course, if you're struggling with the language, that's going to be a big barrier in advancing in friendships and in career and in life, right? And understanding what you can and cannot do and understanding the legislation around when you buy a home, opening up a bank, buying a car, all those things are very important. And not to only rely on community leaders, but to also, you know, do some reading that's necessary. So research the province you're going to, understand that Canada is unique, research the job market, and get to know how well you can communicate. And that communication skill is going to help you understand everything else and make you more successful when you come to Canada.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Rosanna.
You're welcome.
Well, that's it for today's episode of In Focus by U Multicultural. I'm your host, Mark Aaron, and thank you to Prairie Sky Immigration for their time. Hope you stay safe and have a nice day.